You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 50 of 2026. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neil. You can follow me on X at OBKiev. Follow us at The Oddsbreakers. Follow us on social media / The Oddsbreakers. This episode is being brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner with the NFL. If you'd like to support The Oddsbreakers and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com, click shop, become a member, pick any of winning cappers to get the premium plays before the line moves. You can also support us on patreon.com. If nothing else, please visit The Oddsbreakers, become a free Picks and Telegram subscriber. We have a great show for you today because we're still talking NFL. I have two divisions left to discuss with you, the AFC East and the AFC West, and give you a few plays and my predictions. And then it's all going to go full force into guests and college football. We do not have a guest this week. Been slammed myself. Actually, though, I'm not going to lie, the World Cup has really taken over a lot of sports betting in a lot of people's eyes. As a matter of fact, all the other sports are taking a step back. The U.S. Open in golf, MLB, WNBA for what it's worth, minus all the drama that they go through. UFC a little bit. Tennis, a lot of summer sports right now are just losing interest to this World Cup. And I'm not going to lie, it's fun to watch. I don't know a hell of a lot about handicapping it. I'm not a sharp guy at it at all. I have made a few bets. I've won a few. I've lost a few. I'm betting a lot of ties. I didn't get the good days of the ties, I guess, but just having some fun with it. And I'm really enjoying the games. I'm in a pretty big survivor pool as well for the round of 32 here in the World Cup. So we'll see how that works out, as I'm just doing one entry with like zero margin of error. Speaking of margin of error, I think we got this NFL thing down to a T. I'm really excited about talking about these season win totals and these futures that I plan on hitting for the 2026-2027 season. I put a lot of work into it all week. I work into one division. It takes me at least a week to get things down, and a lot of reading up on it. Now, when I put the articles out, it's just basically a summary, and I'm kind of reading you what's important. But at the same time, there's a heck of a lot more of a deep dive that happens on the back end when it comes to handicapping the NFL. And that's why it's taken me all the way through July. We're 50 podcasts in on July 1st here. This show's coming out on July 2nd. And, I'm proud of that. We're going to get to 3 podcasts a week like we always do with the NFL as well as with college football. College football is going to be hit hard starting next week. We're going to have a bunch of guests coming on talking NFL and college football. And there's going to be either 1 to 2 shows per week until we get into August, when we're going to really turn up the speed and go multiple shows a week. And obviously when football season starts, we're definitely going to have 3 shows per week. So cannot wait to get into that. And remind you, I'll be at Circa on August 27th through the 29th, I believe, or 30th, that contest weekend. It's actually the 27th through the 30th. I will be at Stadium Swim as well as Radio Row talking about Circa contests, and Derek Stevens and Mike Palm and Jeff Benson, all the great people over at the Circa that gives us so much fun and opportunity. No rake whatsoever with their contests, so I'm going to get into that. Please stop by and have a drink with me. We have a promo code from footballcontest.com, OB, for $50 off your proxy fee. So you're flying into Vegas or traveling in or just need a proxy for these awesome contests or any contest, check out footballcontest.com. Get $50 off your total by using the promo code OB. So make sure you do that when you get a chance. All right, without further ado, let's get into the AFC East. Want to become a better? Want to get on a path to handicapping professionally? Start by tracking every pick with full transparency using the odds breakers partnered with TallySite. These platforms verify your record, grade every play, and showcase long-term performance so you can build real credibility, not just screenshots and hindsight claims. If you're serious about leveling up, proving your edge, and establishing yourself as a professional handicapper, this is where your reputation begins. Just go to theoddsbreakers.com and click on live odds/pick tracking to get started. Join us in your handicapping journey. All right, the AFC East. Boom, Super Bowl, right? Had a Super Bowl representative in this conference. But, man, this was actually a bad conference. They just happened to get the Patriots through. The Bills once again choked when they had the opportunity of a lifetime, while the Patriots slid in the big game with the easiest football schedule in recent memory. And by the way, the Bills' choke was also a big assist to a man that caught the ball that had the wrong call taken away from him. We remember that. Yeah, the ties go to the offense every single freaking time. It's kind of crazy that the Bills were minus 260 to win the division. The Patriots were plus 475 last year, and we got the Patriots through based on the easiest schedule that I've ever seen. The Bills at least did get the wild card and moved into the divisional round, but man, the Bills had their opportunities and they had the easier schedule for a top team as they got the Ravens and the Chiefs at home. Now the Jets were very Jet-like once again. We're one of the worst teams in the league. I think maybe the worst team in the league, with apologies to Tennessee and the Raiders. But for this year, there's been some big changes, including 2 new coaching staffs, big drama, as you know, within this division. People still talking about it, except for the media, of course, except for journalists. Journalists are not talking about it because nobody's a journalist anymore. But the truth is that we know what happened, and let's get into this division. Now, this division plays the AFC East and the AFC West. I'm sorry, I said AFC East. This is the AFC East. They play the AFC North and the AFC West. So I call that pretty hard. You know, the AFC North's got 3 really good teams and the Vikings team that we'll see. And then the AFC West, you know, you got the Chiefs, Chargers, and the Broncos, right? So I would call that pretty hard. Let's see how this works out here. So we're going to start with the Bills because I have them number 1 power rated in this division. The Bills are also the odds favorite to win the division at minus 125. The Patriots at plus 120. The Jets at plus 1,900. And the Dolphins plus 4,040 to 1. Buffalo Bills, number 1. Vegas win total. I still like calling it Vegas win total, right? Season win total, Vegas win total. It's just funner to say Vegas win total. 10.5 juice to the over, minus 120. 2025 wins was 12. Pythagorean wins, 11.32. Schedules medium at large at the Texans, at the Rams, versus the Ravens. That's the tough part. Schedule last year was considered easy. Key losses, coach Sean McDermott. Linebacker Matt Milano. Edge Joey Bosa. Defensive tackle Daquan Jones. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel. Defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi. Safety Taylor Rapp. Cornerback Tre'Davious White. Guard David Edwards. Quarterback Mitch Trubisky. Good old Mitch is still hacking it in the NFL. And then cornerback Cam Lewis. Key additions. Coach Joe Brady. There you finally a coach. Defense coordinator Jim Leonard. Offense coordinator Pete Carmichael Jr. Wide receiver DJ Moore. Edge Bradley Chubb. Cornerback D. Alfred. Quarterback Kyle Allen. Safety Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And center Austin Corbett. Key draft picks: Edge TJ Parker. Cornerback Davison Igbinosun. I think I destroyed his name. I think it's Igbinosun. Tackle Jude Bowery, wide receiver Skylar Bell, linebacker Caleb Elarms. Or lots of changes this year. as Sean McDermott completely blew his chances. But, here's the thing. Obviously, the refs screwed up on the interception and screwed up when they could have changed it, but they decided not to. The bad part is don't put yourself in those situations. You keep putting yourself in close games, like when Josh Allen got to the line of scrimmage, but they said he didn't. And I mean, just you can't keep doing that. Quit letting other factors decide the game rather than you. Okay. Just too many chances. I felt he had to go anyway. I do like him as a coach, but now you get a guy that I kind of wanted as a Bears coach years ago, and Joe Brady. It's cool to see that. He's behind Josh Allen. He was obviously behind Joe Burrow back in the 2019 LSU team, the best offense I've seen in college football history. He kind of got that RPO really, really blown up. He didn't invent it, but he was the one that really took it to college. The Bills ranked third in offensive EPA per play with practically no receivers. The Bills also had a plethora of injuries to deal with on both sides of the ball. This year, we finally see a star playmaker and wide receiver in DJ Moore, and that's kind of the guy that Josh Allen needs. Now, we haven't seen this since Stephon Diggs, right? Stephon Diggs. And then, obviously, he became a little bit of a diva like most receivers do and screwed them over, but they never replaced him. James Cook still be the bell cow at running back. They have a few dudes sitting behind him, but this defense lost some legendary pieces in Matt Milano and safety Tyler Rapp. I was a big Matt Milano fan, but he just could never stay healthy, right? If you remember, at linebacker, he was a stud, but he just missed too much time on the field. They did get younger at some positions, which is good. The best addition is defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard. I love Jim Leonhard. Former Badger, was a beast on the Ravens and the Jets in his heyday. I believe he's going to turn this defense around, ranking 32nd in opponent rush EPA. How bad is that? How many big plays do you have to give up rushing to rank 32nd in rush EPA on defense? So, I'm actually excited for the coaching staff and this team. I think they needed a reset. My number's 11.16 wins for now. Bills to win the AFC East is a great play, in my opinion, at minus 125 for 1 star. Next, we have the New England Patriots. Vegas win total 10.5, juice to the under, minus 140. 2025 wins was 14. Pythagorean wins 12.54. Schedule's medium easy, at large, at Seattle, at versus the Steelers, and at the Jaguars. Schedule last year was easy. God, they're so lucky. Went from easy, usually goes to hard with the first place schedule, but you got the Steelers and the Jaguars. That's not too bad. And the Jaguars might be better than we think, but the Seahawks is rough. Last year, this was just such an easy schedule, as you remember, getting Denver without a quarterback in the AFC Championship game. Wide receiver Stephon Diggs, I mentioned him again. That was their key loss, I guess, has not been re-signed. Edge Jelani Tavia. And you got Kalavion Chasen as a big loss. And then you have defensive tackle Chris Tonga, safety Jalen Hawkins, tackle Vidarian Love, linebacker Jack Gibbons, and tight end Austin Hooper. So quite a few guys. When you become successful, people move on and get paid. Key additions, wide receiver A.J. Brown. So there you go. I mean, you're fine for this Diggs loss. Wide receiver Romeo Doubs they got from Green Bay. Guard Elijah Vera Tucker. Edge Draymond Jones. Tight end Julian Hill. Fullback Reggie Gilman. Safety Kevin Byard. Kind of shot, I think, from the Bears. Linebacker KJ Britt. Key draft picks, tackle Caleb Lomu. Edge Gabe Jacas. Tight end Eli Raridan. Cornerback Karen Prunty. And tackle Demetrius Crownover. Summary. The hype was correct on the Patriots. I was wrong. I tried to fade them. 4 to 14 wins. Jeez. I will say, though, like I said, I can't say it enough, the schedule was ridiculous. Now, they did find a franchise quarterback, though. It's not like they're a bad team. They're just a pretty good team, 2 or 3 points ahead of the average team. But they weren't in, like, Buffalo's range, in my opinion. They weren't in Denver's range with a healthy quarterback. They weren't in the Chiefs' range if the Chiefs had Mahomes, maybe, They weren't in the Ravens' range if they got their heads out of their asses ever, but they made the Super Bowl. Losing Stephon Diggs hurts much less when you have A.J. Brown come join the team also. The offensive side of the ball is looking okay. The Pats have 2 solid running backs in Ramondre Stevenson and Henderson. The offensive line looks very solid. Even with the easiest schedule, this team was very formidable. The problem lies with the defense that ranked 23rd in opponent rushing success rate and 18th and dropback success rate. So they give up a lot of first downs, but they did not give up a lot of big plays. It's just not good when you are playing tomato cans all year long that, we can expect that to, not regress. Looking at the offseason, I just don't feel like the defense did fix the run game. Maybe they aren't all that worried about it, but it's a situation where they're going to have to think about it when they face the better teams like the Seahawks and the Steelers, who is very run heavy. So, edge rusher K'Lavon Chasen really wasn't replaced unless one of their draft picks hits. And Draymond Jones also, they picked him up. I just think he's kind of a downgrade, in my opinion, from him. The good news clearly is that they have a pretty easy schedule lucking out in this division. It's kind of weird that all of their first 3 games this year are their full at-large schedule against the Seahawks, Steelers, and Jaguars. They get them all 3 at once. I think that's kind of weird. I haven't seen that before that I remember. But either way, their schedule slightly gets harder, and they're not going to be able to get away from the elephant in the room, the Mike Vrabel drama. It's going to continue to haunt this team throughout the whole season, in my opinion. And I think you lose a little credibility when you're releasing secrets to a reporter that you're banging, right? I think maybe you're a little bit less trustworthy in the eyes of your own team. This is going to be interesting as hell to watch. If you love drama, this is the team you're going to pay attention to. I do have the Patriots 2.75 points better than the average team, so close to what it was last year. My season win total is 10.77. So no play on the season win total. We'll see how they start out. Number 3, can't believe I'm saying this, the New York Jets, not 4th, but 3rd. Vegas win total 5.5, juice the over, minus 120. 5.5 to the over. 2025 wins was 3. Pythagorean wins, 4.42. Schedule's easy, at large, at the Titans. Versus the Browns, at the Cardinals. Schedule last year was easy. Key losses, Tanner Engstrand, their offense coordinator. Defense coordinator, Steve Wilkes. Quarterback, Justin Fields. Tackle guard, Elijah Vera Tucker to the Patriots. Guard, John Simpson. Linebacker, Quincy Williams. Edge, Michael Clemens. Kicker, Nick Falk. Quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. Safety, Tony Adams. Wide receiver, Josh Reynolds. Key additions, defense coordinator, Brian Duker. Offense coordinator, Frank Reich. Quarterback, Geno Smith. Edge, Joseph Asai. Linebacker, Demario Davis. Edge, Kingsley Enagbari. I think I just destroyed his name. Safety, Dane Belton. Cornerback, Nashawn Wright. Also safety, Andre Sisco. Who they drafted? Edge, David Bailey. Tight end, Kenyon Sadiq. Wide receiver, Omar Cooper. Cornerback, D'Angelo Pons. Quarterback, Cade Klubnik. I don't mind their draft at all, man. I like Sadiq. I thought Sadiq was underdrafted a little bit. Well, 16, I guess, is kind of close to where I had him. I think I had him at 12 or 13. But David Bailey, the best edge in the draft, that was the best draft edge type players, but Omar Cooper made some big plays at wide receiver for Indiana. So just saying, I kind of like their draft. Minus Cade Klubnik. But here's the summary. From Justin Fields to Geno Smith. Come on. That's the big problem right there. It's like when I said from Aaron Rodgers to Justin Fields last year. But the Jets always had talent. Just never a person to put it all together. Rather than blaming Coach Aaron Glenn, we always have to blame the coordinators. Fire them all. Tanner Engstrang and Steve Wilkes. But Frank Reich comes in at OC with a lot of experience. Yet he hasn't exactly lit it up since his days with Andrew Luck, has he? And then Geno Smith comes back from being drafted from the Jets in like 2013. I think that's weird. But now he's got domestic assault violations that are kind of lingering to deal with. Who's next on the depth chart? Cade Klubnik. I assume that it's him. You still got some good players on this team, even though you're ranked 29th in offensive EPA, 30th on defensive EPA. You have Breece Hall at running back. You got wide receiver Garrett Wilson. You got some good draft picks. And if they turn out, they're going to pay dividends. But without a quarterback, you're not going to go far, even with a good pick like Edge Bailey. Put him with Will McDonald. Put each side. It could be pretty good pass rushers there. But man, Demario Davis. He's going to be the leader of this team because he's the veteran. He's just going to have to kind of guide them. And I'm very skeptical that this team's going to win over 6 wins. I do have 6.21 wins, though. Believe it or not, third in this division, but not super high in the Jets. And I think they're kind of in the GM and the owner's mind. They probably don't want to win a lot of games because you want one of those stud top 4 quarterbacks coming out from last. Or this coming year's draft, which is going to be absolutely freaking ridiculous full of quarterbacks. I'm going to start their power ranking -7 because there's no other reason not to. Miami Dolphins, Vegas win total 4.5, juice to the under -120. 2025 wins was 7. Pythagorean wins 6.64. Schedule's going to be hard at large at the Niners versus the Bengals at the Colts. Schedule last year was easy. Key losses: coach Mike McDaniel, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, wide receiver Tyreek Hill, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, edge Bradley Chubb, guard Cole Strange, guard James Daniels, safety Afitu Melifonwu, guard Liam Eckenberg, tight end Darren Waller, the baller, tackle Larry Borum, and tight end Julian Hill. Also, I guess fullback Alec Ingold. Key additions: coach Jeff Hafley, offense coordinator Bobby Slowick, defense coordinator Sean Duggan, quarterback Malik Willis, and tight end Greg Dulcich. That's all you really picked up there. Whom they drafted: tackle Caden Proctor, cornerback Chris Johnson, linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. Probably the best value pick in the draft, in my opinion, with Jacob Rodriguez late in the second round. Wide receiver Caleb Douglas, tight end Will Kasmerick, wide receiver Chris Bell, and a bunch of dudes. Summary: unfortunately, the Miami Dolphins just could not get it done with Mike McDaniel. He was just too cool for that place. He tried to out Miami. He even dressed like it down there. But now he's going to move across country to another ocean in San Diego. But anyways, the only thing you need to know is that they completely gutted this team. Malik Willis is just a Band-Aid to save face. And he was with Jeff Hafley at Green Bay, even though Jeff Hafley was a defensive coordinator. Just a little bit of familiarity there, but there's just not much to say here. You lost Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, you got Devin Achane, which is the only thing to look forward to, but the poor guy's probably going to get broke. There's no offensive line here. This unit ranked 29th last year, this offensive unit, and that's even with Mike McDaniel. I don't know. The number one receiver is going to be Malik Washington, okay? That means they have no number one receiver. The defense also, what should I say? They lost Bradley Chubb and safety Ifeadi Melifonwu. They just got a defensive-minded coach, so that's why you saw Jacob Rodriguez and Chris Johnson, some pretty good defensive dudes drafted, but just do not expect anything from this team right now, minus Jacob Rodriguez tackling 1,000,000 times. I think that's going to put him in the line for a possible defensive rookie of the year. I have 3.85 wins. Very low. I doubt they get to 4 wins. But at the same time, Jacob Rodriguez, plus 2,200 for defensive rookie of the year. is the best play that I could find here with the Dolphins. I think, just like you saw with Cleveland last year, as Carson Schwestinger won it, you might get it over with Jacob Rodriguez. Beast at Texas Tech, 22-1. Let's take that for like a quarter unit.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
What if your home lowered your bills, charged your car, and helped protect the planet without lifting a finger? Every City Ventures home is built with solar, smart thermostats, EV charging readiness, and Energy Star appliances all included standard. It's eco-friendly living without the compromise. Intelligent, integrated, included. Discover California's leader in sustainable new home construction at cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.
$30 million in guaranteed prizes. Cash in this football season in Las Vegas with 3 Circa Sports contest entries starting at $1,000, all with no rake. Circa Million, 18 weeks of point spread action, 128 ways to win. Circa Survivor, pick one winner each week, last one standing wins. And Circa Grandissimo with $100,000 entry in over $4 million in guaranteed prizes. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. $30 million guaranteed. Visit circasports.com for details. All right. The AFC West. All right, so the AFC West clearly had it rough because there's just a lot of injuries. Almost had a Super Bowl appearance, but Bo Nix got derailed. Speaking of quarterback injuries, this division lost NFL's love child, Patrick Mahomes, for about a third into the season, or a third of the season, I should say. I believe he played a decent amount of games. Actually, he got hurt on December 14th, so he played a heck of a lot of games. So, about 2/3 into the season, I'll correct myself. The Chargers were also kind of a team that got really injured because they lost both their tackles. That was rough. The Broncos and the Raiders were some of the healthiest teams in the league until the very end, as you know, for the Broncos. But for 2026, the outlook is pretty equal on the top 3 teams. It's kind of like the NFC North in a way. And the Raiders finally got their franchise quarterback. The AFC West does play the AFC East and the NFC West for their conference schedules. I will call that medium hard, as you know, the AFC East has at least 2 really good teams and 2 bad teams, but the NFC West is the best division in football. So medium hard for sure, but this is going to be very interesting this year. Let's start with the top team, which I has the Denver Broncos. But man, I'll tell you this, Vegas and the market doesn't agree with me. They have the Chiefs at plus 120, plus 180 in some books, Chargers plus 180, Broncos plus 210, and the Raiders plus 1,500 to win the division. That Raiders number is way off. That thing should be minimum 50-1. But, these are just bad odds in general. I don't know, 120, 180, and 210. These should be about 210 apiece, and the Broncos maybe a little bit better. So I just don't like the numbers that they're throwing up there. Broncos Vegas win totals 9.5, juice to the over minus 115. 2025 wins was 14. Pythagorean wins was 11.21. Schedule's medium easy at large versus the Jaguars, at the Panthers, at the Steelers. Schedule last year is medium easy. Key losses: offense coordinator Joe Lombardi, defensive tackle John Franklin Myers, linebacker Dre Greenlaw, and safety PJ Locke. That's it. Key additions: Offense coordinator Davis Webb, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, safety Tyson Anderson. Key draft picks: defense tackle Tyler Onyedem, running back Jonah Coleman, tackle Cage Casey. Summary: Broncos number 1 seed in the AFC, as you know, until Bo Nix got injured in that game. They had some things go their way to get there, though. This division's definitely got weaker with all the injuries to the Chargers and the Chiefs, and they're the second most achieving team with 14 total wins, but their Pythag was only 11.21. If you take out turnovers, they're actually the most overachieving team in the NFL. In saying that, they're still the best team in the division, though. At least last year. The offseason looked a lot like the Rams' approach this year when they gave up draft picks for known commodities like Jalen Waddle. This move definitely fills a big need at wide receiver. I give it an A+, as it makes sense to go for it this year. The Broncos were not flashy, ranking only 15th in offensive EPA, but they got the job done, especially with that schedule. Now, the good news is that the schedule is going to be medium easy again this season. Great for a first-place team. Jaguars, Panthers, and Steelers. That's even better than the draw the Patriots got. Davis Webb moves in a offense coordinator position from quarterback's coach. So no big change with Joe Lombardi heading to the Ravens. The defense is what this team would rely on, as they did give up explosive plays. They also rank number 1 in success rate, right? So that was kind of like the opposite. They were really good at not giving up first downs, even though they gave up explosive plays. Teams usually that do that have a very blitz-heavy type defense, right? Not too high shell. But either way, the surprising thing to me is that they got this far with a -3 turnover ratio. They still won 14 games. That's very impressive. I do not expect the defense to skip a beat this year. They might actually even improve. Unlike the Chiefs, I expect Bo Nix to be back for training camp. He just had a broken ankle, so it's not like a tear. I have the Broncos right now as the top team for now. My number is 11.11. I think they get over 9.5 wins. It's weird when you overachieve Pythag that I actually do this, but if you're going to win 14 games and the market's going to say 9.5 and your Pythag's in the 11s, I got to go over that win total for one start. Denver Broncos power rating will start at 3.5 points better than the average team. Number 2, the LA Chargers. Vegas win total 9.5, juice to the over, -130. 2025 wins was 11. Pythagorean wins was 9.2. Schedule's medium hard. At large versus the Texans, at the Ravens, at the Buccaneers. Schedule last year was medium easy. Key losses: defense coordinator Jesse Minter, offense coordinator Greg Roman, edge Odafe Owe. Guard Zion Johnson, cornerback Benjamin St. Juste, defense tackle Deshaun Hand, defensive tackle Otito Ogbonna, guard Mekhi Becton, running back Najee Harris, tight end Will Dissly, guard Trevor Penning, wide receiver Keenan Allen, and running back Hassan Haskins. Key additions: offense coordinator Mike McDaniel, defense coordinator Chris O'Leary, center Tyler Biadasz, tight end Charlie Kohler, guard Cole Strange, running back Keaton Mitchell, fullback Alec Ingold, defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson, tight end David Njoku. Key draft picks: edge Akeem Maydor, center Jake Slaughter, wide receiver Brennan Thompson, tackle Travis Burke, safety Genesis Smith, and defensive tackle Nick Barrett. Summary: the Chargers are bolting into Harbaugh's third year with a heck of a lot of hope. This team, though, from the get-go was injured, as they lost both their offensive tackles in Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt to injury. Horrible. Really complicated things for Justin Herbert, and they also don't have good playmakers, and that's a problem. I could argue the Chargers have the worst skill position talent in the whole NFL. But that's the Harbaugh way. Get guys with little to no egos and make them play smash-mouth football. That type of football works well until your team gets injured, right? And from the offense side of the ball, the team ranked a poor 28th in EPA. Part of that was injuries. The other part was not having any real playmakers. Offense coordinator Greg Roman got the boot and was replaced with offensive guru Mike McDaniel, who just could not take it anymore in Miami. But this is going to be an upgrade, in my opinion. I like Mike McDaniel under the Shanahan tree. I expect Justin Herbert and the gang to scheme their way into good situations, thanks to Harbaugh. The defense is what kept them afloat, ranking 6th in EPA per play in the league. But there has to be some changes. Odafe Owe and Benjamin St. Juste got too expensive. That could weaken the pass defense, as neither player was properly replaced, in my opinion. Now, the bigger obstacle, minus a healthy Patrick Mahomes in this division and a tough schedule, is they got worse from a rest standpoint. This team has the worst rest at negative 24 net days of rest.
Unreal.
It's horrible. And they get 4 teams off the bye. 4 teams off their bye week. And net rest has become more and more important as they add on games. All in all, there's just not enough talent on this team to take them to the promised land, even if they do smash their way into the playoffs. So I think betting unders is going to be good. And probably the best route to go is team totals. They did not score a lot of points last year. I'm not sure they're going to score a lot this year, but their record to the under was 6-11-1. So great coach and just a below average team. I have them 9.6 wins, which means I kind of lean over their 9.5 win total, but not really. It's minus 130. No play for me. Their power ranking is going to be 2.25 points better than the average team, and that's all based on Harbaugh. You know, if it wasn't for Jim Harbaugh, this team would suck. Number 3, Kansas City Chiefs. Vegas win total 9.5, juice to the under, minus 130. 2025 wins was 6. Pythagorean wins was 9.57. Schedule's medium easy, at large versus the Colts, at Falcons, at Bengals. Schedule last year was medium. Key losses. Offense coordinator Matt Nagy, cornerback Jalen Watson, cornerback Trent McDuffie, safety Brian Cook, linebacker Leo Chenal, quarterback Gardner Minshew, wide receiver Marquise Brown, tackle Jawan Taylor, edge Charles Omenihu, cornerback Joshua Williams, running back Isaiah Pacheco, cornerback Nazee Johnson, running back Kareem Hunt, and tackle Wanya Morris. That's a lot, but they did add some dudes too. So key additions, offense coordinator Eric Bieniemy is back. Justin Fields at quarterback. I like that. Running back Kenneth Walker replaced Pacheco and Hunt, kind of. Safety Olahai Gilman. Defense tackle Kairos Tonga. Cornerback Kyer Elam. Cornerback Kader Kohu. Running back Amari DiMarcardo. And cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. Key draft picks. Cornerback Mansour Delane. Defense tackle Peter Woods. Edge Mason Thomas. And cornerback Jaden Kennedy. By the way, it's R. Mason Thomas from the Oklahoma Sooners that they drafted at edge. What an interesting name. R. Mason Thomas. His name's R. I guess you can go by Mason too. The Chiefs had the biggest underachieving season with a massive minus 3.57 Pythagorean wins. Even without Mahomes, this team still should have won 9 games. Quite the opposite of a huge overachievement from the year before, winning 15 games. But let's see what the heck happened. We know that Patrick Mahomes got hurt in December, but man, let's face it. This team only won 6 games up to that point with 8 losses. They are 6-8. Offense coordinator Matt Nagy's gone. Eric Bieniemy is back. I think both guys have their own equal issues, and both were taught by Andy Reid, so not much change is expected. The offensive line really regressed to about 20th ranking. We do not know when Mahomes is going to be fully healthy. So, that's another part of the reason why they have him 3rd right now. I don't know when that's going to happen. And their season could kind of start off a little rough with Fields in there. 9 months of healing is going to be by September, early September, with a torn ACL and LCL. The running backs look good now with Kenneth Walker and Amari DiMarcardo. The receiver group is a bit questionable with Rashee Rice's off-field issues and Xavier Worthy's health. If these guys can kind of get it together, this should be a pretty good team. But Travis Kelce's slowing down as he moves into his dinosaur age. The defense was the best unit, really, for them, ranking 12th in EPA per play, yet There's been some big turnover in the secondary as well as the linebacker. Defensive end Felix Anudike-Uzoma was hurt in the preseason last year, and he's expected to start this year. So at least he's back. Chris Jones and George Karlaftis was going to be the guys to also put pressure on the stud quarterbacks in this division, but I'm skeptical. This Chiefs team, massive underachievers from a Pythag win, but even with that, I just do not have them that much higher than an average team until I see them with Mahomes. Their schedule should, in theory, put them right in the mix, but for now, let's see how Mahomes looks during the season. That's why their win total is only 9.5, okay? I mean, it's not just me that has questions about this. The whole market seems to not completely trust Patty Mahomes here coming back right away. 10.5 to the under you can get at minus 140. It's a little bit juicy for me as my numbers, a little over 9 wins, right? I have 9.79 wins from this standpoint, but I'm going to put them as a power rating at 1.25 points better than the average team until I see Mahomes and see what he can do on the field with this group of guys. Don't get me wrong, this team could win the freaking Super Bowl. But right now, from last year's play with Mahomes, I just don't like it. Number 4, the Las Vegas Raiders. Vegas win total 5.5 juice to the over, minus 130. 2025 wins was 3. 3 wins. Pythagorean wins 3.67. Schedule is going to be medium, at large, at the Saints, at the Browns versus the Titans. Schedule last year was medium. Key losses: coach Pete Carroll, quarterback Geno Smith, quarterback Kenny Pickett, tackle Stone Forsythe, guard Alex Kappa, linebacker Landon Roberts, running back Raheem Mostert. Key additions: Coach Clint Kubiak from Seattle OC Andrew Janico, DC Rob Leonard, center Tyler Linderbaum, edge Kwity Paye, linebacker Quay Walker, linebacker Nakobe Dean. Interesting combo right there. Wide receiver Jalen Naylor, quarterback Kirk Cousins, tight end Connor Hayward, tackle Spencer Burford. Key draft picks: quarterback Fernando Mendoza, cornerback Traydon Stukes, edge Kerryon Crawford, tackle Trey Zune III, and cornerback Jermod McCoy. See the summary. Another year, another head coach for the Raiders. I think that this time they may have gotten it right as Clint Kubiak was more solid with Sam Darnold over in the Super Bowl winning ways, winning the offensive coordinator. That was pretty cool for him, and he gets a head coaching job, but lots of changes are happening, and we should have a new and improved team. Now, say what you want about Kirk Cousins, but we've seen him thrive with competent coaching. Cousins will only be a placeholder for Fernando Mendoza, but he's going to go until Fernando's ready to take the reins. It could be even week 1, but that's what makes it really hard to predict this team. Who's going to start at quarterback? How good is Mendoza going to be in the beginning? This offense ranked 32nd in EPA. They're dead last. And I like a lot of their free agency moves as they finally got some dudes that can play some football. I like tight end Connor Haywood. I think he was very underrated in space, knocking dudes over in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to play some football when not blocking for Genti as well, because they have obviously Brock Bowers, who's going to get the bell cow of all the pass receptions. I think they're going to play some 2 tight end sets. But, this is going to be, a trying team with a lot of new guys that really could get better. It's funny how they tried to trade Max Crosby but wanted too much. I don't know if that was smart. I would have got rid of that contract, but I guess they can always do it next year. It's just see what kind of value they can get. They could have still got a number 1 for Crosby. Wanting more than that was a little bit tough. So that means you're going to have to pay him next year. If you're going to want to, let's just say you have a chance for the Super Bowl next year, what are you going to do? And if he regresses, we'll see. You ain't get nothing back for him. But I do like Nakobe Dean with Quay Walker again. Remember how good they were in Georgia? That's a cool linebacking duo right there. So I'm excited to watch that. Another rough note is this team, like the Chargers, got shafted in net rest days, minus 16 days for the 2026-2027 football schedule. It's not quite as bad as the Chargers, but still bad. At least they're at large. Ended up very easy. Saints, Browns, and Titans. if everything works out, this Raider team can be the most improved team for 2026. I got them winning about 6.57 games, so I definitely lean over. I mean, I wanted to actually go higher on them, believe it or not. But this is going to be kind of a tough division, and this is kind of a tough schedule. That's the whole problem with them. They got a pretty, even though their at-large games are somewhat easy, they still had a pretty tough schedule kind of coming in here. Playing the NFC West, right? So not 100% sold on them, but man, this team made a ton of moves. I'm excited to see what Clint Kubiak's going to do. Possibly a team to bet on as a dog. Well, there you have it, my friends. That is our final two previews, divisional previews. The rest of the year, we're just going to bring on guests and kind of hash it out and tweak things, as power ratings are always an evolving process. They're never stopped, right? What if Geno Smith, gets canned? You got to make an adjustment there. There's just always things that can happen. Look what happened to Terry and Arnold in the Detroit Lions. They literally cut his ass, a starting cornerback. So power ratings are always going to be adjusted as, we go along. But either way, to summarize what we are doing here, the best bets I have, starting with the East, AFC East, I'm definitely taking the Bills to win it at -125, and I'm taking Jacob Rodriguez 22-1 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. For the Broncos side, I'm taking the Broncos over the win total 9.5. I like that play. I found it at -110 as well. And right now I'm just going to sit tight and see what happens later this summer if I want to take any more bets. My friends, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you for listening to all of our podcasts this year and bearing with us here at the Odds Breakers. I'm excited to talk college football again starting next week. We're going to be going back and forth to NFL and college football with some of the best guests in the business. Enjoy the rest of the week and go get some winners.
Fresh financial you is closer than you think. With MyFICO, you can get the right score for your credit goal, including your FICO scores used for mortgages, auto loans, and credit cards. MyFICO provides your FICO score straight from the people that created it. And you can compare your FICO scores and credit reports from all three bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, side by side. Understanding your credit has never been easier. So use MyFICO to get a clearer picture of your credit in 2026. Visit myfico.com or download the MyFICO app to get started today.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.